Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. I'm here today with my good friend Linda Ellson, Feng Shui practitioner, owner of Feng Shui Your World. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Angie. It's great to be with you on a snowy Sunday.
I know it sure is a snowy Sunday, isn't it? For sure.
I love it though.
I love it too. I love it too. Linda and I were, you guys, I'm just doing something so I can see your comments. Come on, everybody that's here. Make sure you come on, say hi to us, and let us know where you're from. Okay, I got this, Linda. Here we go. Change my audience. Sorry. I know that's rude to do in the beginning, but I want to be able to see what everybody's saying. So,
Yeah, they're starting to chat. Hello,
yeah.
everyone.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you. So for anybody, I know some of you are from Buffalo area, but not everybody. And we are having a heck of a winter storm, aren't we, Linda?
We sure are. You know what, Angie? And for those of you who have attended our classes over the years, for the last 2 years, we've actually have taught the class in the second week of January. And this is the first time in many years that we've actually been able to teach it. We are going to be teaching it hybrid, both in person and online.
I know.
And gosh, if it would have been yesterday, we would have had to have canceled the in-person and 100% go online. So I'm really thrilled how it's worked out.
Oh, so look at that. That's like, I always think that's spirit kind of guiding us, right? Or guiding you, because I can remember you saying that when you set the date that normally it's the second week, but this year we're going to do it the third. See?
Yes.
Yeah, see, spirit has our back. I always feel that. Linda and I were just talking about this. Hello, Susanna. Hi, Kara. Good to see you guys, both of you. So we were just talking about, I know yesterday when the storm hit, I thought to myself, I don't have time for this. I have so much to do. And then we're kind of forced to have to stay home, and then for me, it's like little by little, I get into that. And I always feel like we're practicing the pause. And I kind of needed that pause.
I did too. I did too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel that for everybody. Hi, Anna. Oh, Anna Maria's here. Linda. Yep.
Hi, Anna Maria.
Oh, Orchard Park, Carolyn. You probably have a ton of snow there. Yeah.
You know who doesn't have snow, Angie? Susanna in Columbia does not have snow. We need.
Oh, yes, I see.
We either need to come to Buffalo and enjoy our snow, or you can also enjoy the pause today, Susanna. Thanks for being with us. That's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. No, we loved it. I see your palm tree there in sunshine. She's got that good stuff. So, Linda, what were you talking about with the Bills Stadium?
Okay, so, a lot of you have heard me already buzzing about the period of 9, and we've been mentioning that in our promos with the upcoming year of the dragon. And one of the hallmarks of the period of 9, and what the period of 9 is that in Feng Shui, we acknowledge that, in traditional Feng Shui, I should say, we acknowledge that energy shifts in 20-year cycles, or we call them periods. So the period of 9 is, number one, it's to focus on the direction of south. And for those of you who know a little bit about Feng Shui, all the different directions have themes. So like the south, we'd say is your fame or your reputation sector or that area. So it's the focus on the South. Well, interestingly enough, right, for those of you who follow football, and if you're in Buffalo, New York, whether you like it or not, you're following football. The Bills were supposed to play today at 1:00, and the game got canceled due to the weather. We have a driving ban here, et cetera. So I was thinking about the Buffalo Bills. It got postponed to tomorrow. Well, the really interesting period 9 tidbit for you about the Bills Stadium. So the Buffalo Bills are going to be having a new stadium. For those of you who are from Buffalo, you're aware of this. For those of you not, you'll find this interesting from a Feng Shui standpoint. Our Buffalo Bills Stadium is in Orchard Park, New York, which is south of Buffalo, and it's in the South towns. And when, the owners and the legislators and the powers that be were trying to decide where the new stadium would be, there was talk at one time that maybe it would be in our outer harbor, which is like around our riverfront, which would not have been the South town. So my interpretation from a Feng Shui period 9 fame and reputation standpoint for the next 20 years, the Bills they're basically going right across the parking lot and building, but they're in the territory to be in the limelight. And we know how we would interpret that as Bills fans for the next 20 years. It's going to be awesome. So I'm, from a Feng Shui standpoint, even though I've never Feng Shui'd the Bills yet, I think that's awesome that they're staying in Buffalo, in Buffalo's South towns, Orchard Park, New York.
Yes, that's good to hear. So Super Bowl, we come, right?
That is my prediction.
Mine's
during the period of 9.
too.
Period 9, people, starts on February the 4th of this year. So you heard it here first. That's my I do these 20-year predictions.
Yes.
Okay, so that's my 20-year prediction. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you. So everybody, if you're just joining us, thank you. I see so many beautiful names coming up. It's so good to see you. This is Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and friends. And my friend is owner of Feng Shui Your World, Linda Ellson, who actually is a very good friend of mine.
Yes. Yeah. Delighted.
So I wanted to ask you, Linda, because some people know a lot about Feng Shui and others don't.
Right.
So can you explain, like, what is Feng Shui, why it's important, and also a little bit about your background and how you started getting involved with being a Feng Shui expert?
So Feng Shui is the art and science of placement, and it is a more than 3,000-year-old ancient tradition. And it's all about being in a rhythm and harmony with nature. And the thought and the theory with Feng Shui is that if you have the elements in alignment in your home, and when we talk about natural elements, we mean like trees, and we'd say that's the wood element, or water, that is like bodies of water, like Lake Erie or the Pacific Ocean, that's the water element. The sun, when it's shining, is the fire element. Metal, we think about digging into the earth and finding the rich ores, or we think about, sitting down on a really solid, great, meditation rock, like being in Sedona, Arizona, or in the Adirondacks, or in the Grand Tetons, that's earth element. So way back when, the ancient masters, and they were developing communities for emperors, etc., and building palaces, they were making sure that the landform Feng Shui supported all of this. But fast forward in modern times, and it's really been, practiced much throughout the Pacific Rim, and then it landed in the U.S. My gosh, I mean, I got into it in the late 90s, and it probably had already been here maybe about 10 or 15 years, but in really kind of more cryptic esoteric circles. And so much of it has been really enfolded much more into the mainstream. But when you think about those elements in nature in modern times, and how I practice as a consultant, or the information that I share in my classes, those elements turn into colors. Like green might be, green is the wood element. We're entering the year of the wood dragon. Having plants in certain strategic areas. Water might be a beautiful picture of water, or painting a wall blue, or maybe you need metal element. You're like, oh, wow, I have a great couch, in my Northwest living room. And that's great for that Northwest area. Or maybe you don't have as much passion or excitement in life. So usually I find out that people are missing the fire element. So it can be as simple as opening up your blinds and your draperies and letting the sunshine in. Like, I have all my windows open today, and I just am enjoying the snow. And I really am a person who enjoys the snow. I enjoy all the seasons, but I love it. Yeah. And so that's the idea. So it's like, if our homes were all white or all gray, which is, gray's been the it color for the past few years, or prior to that was all earth tones. If it's too earthy, it could be a stuckness. If it's too metal, too gray, it could be a rigidness. If it's too fiery, there could be potentially anger issues. So it's about finding the balance, very specific. And when I say very specific, when I consult with people, I look at very specifically, what direction does their house face? What year did they buy the house? Were there any major renovations or changes? Who lives there? What are their birth dates? And then you put all that information together, and it's a formula very specific to their home, where they need the earth, the fire, the metal, the water, and the wood. So what happens is what you should know is that every year around this time, and it's February 4th to be exact, we have a Feng Shui New Year. And there are annual energy shifts and changes. So every year we have our long-term Feng Shui, and that's the Feng Shui that carries us. But every year there are subtle shifts and changes. This is not so subtle of a year, because we have the year of the dragon. And in certain circles, they consider the dragon the most auspicious animal. He's the only celestial creature of the 12 zodiac animals. But it's super potent, because we have this big changing of the guard with a whole new period of time. So in the class, what I teach and what I consult, on is where are the best sectors and where's the energy moving. And then you want to dig, you want to renovate, you want to paint the wall or get new artwork in those areas. And where are the areas do you want to keep it a little more quiet, or you wouldn't want to put on the addition this year? So those are the specifics that I get into. But I chuckle when I think about, well, first of all, I've been teaching this class for the past 20 years. It'll be the 20th anniversary with this class next weekend, which I kind of started teaching it, by what I thought was a need. If you would have ever told me 20 plus years ago that I would ever be a teacher, I would, just thought you were crazy, because the thought of public speaking was not something that I did.
Really?
And
you're a good teacher.
Well, thank you. I mean, I really enjoy it, and I have found my niche and my groove and my comfort. And part of that has been, all the enthusiastic, students and friends of feng shui over the years that have joined me on this journey. And we've evolved it so much. So, I've come to be very comfortable with it. But what happened way back when, in 2004, we had our shift that began into what we call the period of 8. And I already was a couple of years into my feng shui practice. So we went from the period of 7, which was kind of like the development of like the Silicon Valley. That was around the time of that 20-year cycle from 1984 to 2004. That was the first time that we started seeing females getting into like CEO type positions. That was the first young women rising to power. Period 8 is going to be about, the middle, we'll just call them the midway point, women, rising to power, spirituality, which is really perfect. And here we are on Lilydale Blog Talk Radio. And Lilydale has the distinction of being the oldest spiritualist community in the United States. So, by the way, here's another prediction for you. Lilydale is in our southern tier, for those of you who are not from the area. So it's like, even more south than that Buffalo Bills stadium. And I see, I'm going to predict in the next 20 years, we're going to see Lilydale and its counterparts, right? Anything that's under the umbrella of spirituality, spiritual development, that's going to be another hallmark of the period of 9. By the way, the color purple as well. Angie's wearing some very pretty purple today, and our background banner is also purple. So for all you purple lovers out there, and by the way, that's a fire element color, but it's going to be all fire elements. I happen to be wearing a burgundy today, but it's a fire element that is shining in the period of 9. And I think too, the period 9 is also going to be an opportunity for a lot more people to shine. And I think we've seen a lot of that, whether you love or not love social media. I think that there's been an opportunity, we should say, that a lot more people have had the opportunity through that platform to kind of become their own, stars, so to speak, right? And be acknowledged and from all different walks of life and different, topics here and there. So I think we're going to see more of that. Yeah. So, Angie, we'll talk after the radio show, but people, I'm going to throw something out to Reverend Angie. So for those of you who know, Angie is a registered medium at Lilydale. And last year, Angie bought a new house, which I haven't gotten my hands on yet. She had a very busy season right before she bought that house. But what I want to do, I'm just going to tell you what I want to do with you, Angie.
Okay, I'm excited.
And Karen, listen up, because it involves you. Karen's our tech guru, and she's working behind the scenes. So, Angie, I want to tweak your house for feng shui right before the big season. And I thought it would be great if we could do like a little video to kind of like teach people a little bit more about what goes in when you do it, like an analysis. And we can actually go on Angie does these golf cart adventures, which I really love. We could go on a little golf cart ride and point out the water, like this beautiful calm lake, go into the wood element forest. And I think in the inspiration stump area, and I think it could be, well, first of all, we'll tweak it, and all of your clients visiting you this summer are going to love it. You're going to love it. But I think it could be a great educational tool as well.
Yes, I love it. What do you all think? That sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah, and our friend, and then Karen, we're throwing this on Karen right now. Karen, we're going to have to mark your calendar because, again, Karen is our tech guru and the person who puts all these fun adventures together for us.
Yeah, she does. Thank goodness that Karen would make her come on here. So, Linda, you know what? I want to ask you this. I love that idea. Thank you. That would be awesome because that was actually one of my questions. So, you do that. Like, if somebody wants you to come into their home, you'll help them find like the perfect feng shui. And it kind of sounds like, as you're talking about that what you're doing is helping them balance their home so they have the best energy possible in it, right?
So this is what I want to say. Yes, I'm helping them to balance their home. But here's the deal. And just like I'm offering to come feng shui your new home in Lilydale.
Yeah.
So yes, it's for you. Yes, it's for the person, but it's not just about the person living in the house. In my opinion, when we feng shui our homes, and I feel like, and I mean, of course, I'm a practitioner. I live this.
Yeah.
But when we do this level of energetic work, we certainly benefit ourselves and our family, but it's a ripple effect out to the world. Like you can think about yourself as like in your home, kind of like being the beacon of light in the way shower. It's not that everyone in your neighborhood knows like, hey, the so-and-sos have feng shuied their house. And it's not like you're putting it on, the group Facebook page. Maybe some of you are, but not everyone. You get the idea. And it's like we say, as within, so without. As we start to do changes in, feng shui, and, some of us have lived it as a lifestyle for a long time, it ripples out into how different positive things, shift and change in our homes and out into the world. And as it changes into the world, we then kind of bring it on the inside. So I'd say as within, so without. And as far as consultations go, it's so much fun to see all these people in my classroom, whether it's in person or virtually, again this year, and people are now gathering around the world to join us. But there are some of my clients that's all they do with me is do private consultations, and they've never stepped foot in my classroom. And ever so often I'm like, you really would have fun at one of my classes, but a lot of them choose just to, do the private one-on-one. And I totally respect that. And I love that too. It's like, this type of year is like old homes day to me, whether it's in my classroom, virtual, in person, and then the businesses and homes that I, go in and out of. And I call those annual updates. But this is something I really want to stress to you people, whether you're taking our class or you're having a consultation, or maybe you never had a consultation with me. If there was ever a year that you were going to, do some feng shui, this is the year. And why do I say that? Because again, it is such a potent year because we have the dragon energy stepping in. And by the way, we have to invite the dragon. This is one of my favorite little pieces. This is a dragon water pitcher. So, you fill the top with water and then it comes out of his mouth. I water my plants with this.
I love that.
But here's the deal. We always say, number one, you have to welcome the dragon energy in. And by the way, it's a wood dragon. So it is a green dragon. And we also say you never leave a dragon thirsty, right? You think about the fire-breathing dragon. So whether you would have water near the dragon or facing, a picture of water, maybe if you have a fountain in your home or a fish tank or an aquarium, or even if you want to leave him a little cup of water, you can do that as well. So again, year of the dragon. And then because it's also the period 9, if there was ever a year to maybe begin a feng shui experiment, or, like maybe you say, oh my gosh, I think I missed the class last year. Don't skip it this year. Be adventurous, and a little feng shui, in my opinion, goes a long way. And I pride myself with the class, and I water it down as much as you want to with just knowing the do's and the don'ts for the year. Don't dig or renovate here. Hey, set up shop, in the home office right here because it's so prosperous. Ooh, spice up your love life there. Or, listen, we got to take care of our health in this sector. If you just follow those basic nuts and bolts, you could have a great year navigating it with feng shui. Now, I always say, I don't feel it's a magic pill, but it's like a guidance system. It's kind of like having, an energetic GPS for your home. And that's how I perceive feng shui. But though, for those of you who like, and I know there's a lot of diehards on today, and a lot of diehards have been taking my classes over the years. I'm one of the diehards too. Me too. I get into symbolic feng shui, and it's not just fun. There's potency in it. So like something like a dragon, or we might say hang a wind chime in a certain area. It's not just about like, oh, the wind chime will be pretty hanging in that area. And it can be, like things can be very pretty and aesthetic. But whenever I say like hang a wind chime in a certain area, it's about boosting health luck. And it's about being flexible. You think about if you put your hand through a wind chime, or if it's blowing in the wind, because it's near a window, and it doesn't have to be near a window. It's about flexibility and flow with health or any health concerns that might come up. But also, I always recommend not any old kind of wind chime. I always recommend a 6 hollow rod metal wind chime when I'm recommending a wind chime, for an example, because we'd say any of the weakened energy goes down through the tubes and then it gets dissipated down below. So that's just one example, of many things.
And it makes sense. So I don't know all this feedback. I'm not sure why. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. You can hear me, Linda? Okay. All right.
Yes, I can. I thought Karen might have sent you a note about your audio. Is everyone else hearing Angie okay? Do you want to make a comment in chat for us so we know?
Karen. Well, what I wanted to ask you, see, that is bad, isn't it? I have my phone away
You
now,
sound fine to me.
Okay.
While you're figuring it out, Angie, I'm going to make a comment. Colleen Joy is on, and she made a comment that I addressed her office 2 times when she moved. And yeah, we have, and we've done some great projects together, Colleen. And Colleen, by the way, for those of you in the Buffalo, New York area, Colleen is a wonderful massage therapist, and she practices out of West Seneca, New York. By the way, Colleen, I need to come see you.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. You know what I wanted to ask? People are saying that they can hear a little echo with me. So, but anyway, Linda, I wanted to ask, so feng shui, when you feng shui your house, I love that because you make your house more positive and make the energy more positive. And I believe that so much that then, that goes out into the world or the neighborhood. I mean, I totally believe that. But you're also saying then that if you feng shui your house, it makes your house or your office better, but it changes your life too, right? There's things you can do. Like you
Absolutely.
said,
and so like, for an example, we talked about, feng shuiing your home at Lilydale, and that'll be it's a project, but then Angie's home will be feng shui. So it'll benefit Angie, but it will benefit. And so Angie is a professional reader down at Lilydale. So people traditionally come to the readers' homes and they sit in a certain area. So I'll make sure that Angie's sitting in a power direction and the elements are balanced in a certain way. So number one, that will benefit Angie as she's doing the readings. She also happens to live there in the summer months, but it also is a benefit and a blessing for whoever comes in, even if it's just for an hour reading. But beyond that, whether they realize it or not, like the neighbors on either side of Angie, like there's a resonance to feng shui. So it's going to benefit the community. And then it goes beyond the community. And then I just feel it's like a ripple effect, because we say in feng shui, we have a theory that your whole life is mapped out throughout your physical space. We have an area for career, your life's path, your journey, your knowledge, your learning, your health, your family, your prosperity, your fame, your reputation, what you're passionate about in life, your closest personal relationships, your partnership, your love life, your children, your grandchildren, your little inner child. Are you having enough fun? Are you playing enough? And then our helpful people, our friendship circles, great communities like this where we come together in our spirituality. So as we make these changes and honor it, or, change a wall color up somewhere, there's a vibration and a resonance, and there's really on purpose recommendations for that. And remember, this is a more than 3,000-year-old plus tradition. So it's like these energetic patterns have been studied for centuries. And, I just share them in modern times. And for me, I've been a student, I've been a hobbyist of feng shui since about the late 90s when I moved back to Buffalo. And then I formally studied feng shui with my very first master, got certified by the year 2002 is when I graduated. And then, many world masters, later, and it'll be a lifetime study for me. But not everyone needs to get at that level. And that's why you have someone like me, because I interpret all the information for you. But, there's information and there's information. And I always share this in my class. Some people will say, I've read a book on feng shui, and this book says this, and this book says that. And what people don't always realize is that there's different styles of feng shui. There's about 12 different styles altogether. I practice traditional classical form feng shui, which looks at how energy changes over time. So for all of you astrology lovers out there, I'm one of them. Certainly in astrology, we look at how energy changes over time. Well, traditional feng shui has its own version of astrology, and we call that the Batzi. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I think Batzi is very complicated, and I'm very proficient in Western feng shui or Western astrology, and I love it. But that also is a time factor. So that's part of it. There's different styles, but there is a lot of misinformation too. And why is that? Well, it is said that centuries ago, when feng shui was first evolving, and actually was evolved out of ancient China. But after a while, that government banned feng shui because they thought the information was too powerful to have in the hands of the masses. So, the old rumor was that the emperor said, to there are people on staff, I want you to write a book, and I want you to tell them it's this, this, and that they should do, not that, because I don't want them to have my information. So that's part of the deciphering. Like if you know enough about feng shui, like I get out my red pen every year, when I'm doing my deep research, I'm like, well, that's correct. That's correct. Oh my gosh, that is so not correct. So I do a lot of very, very deep preparation, when I become your annual energy tour guide, so to speak.
Which is good. So Linda, let's talk about Year of the Dragon, because we have the class. I can't believe it's a week away.
I know. Yeah. So the Year of the Dragon. So, there's a total of 12 zodiac signs. And, so most of you might know, like sometimes it seems like one year they're saying Happy New Year at this time, another year it's the year of the something at another time. Well, it's because that is true. So from the naming it a Lunar New Year, Happy New Year of the Dragon, it's going to be on February the 10th. We're still in, but we're going to be coming out of the Year of the Rabbit. So what it is the Lunar New Year itself is always it's the new moon, the second new moon after the winter solstice. That's what it is. But for those of us in the feng shui we know that the energy changes with the Sia calendar, which is a static date. It's like their version of the Farmer's Almanac, and that changes every year at February the 4th, but we always name it the animal sign. So in many feng shui circles and Lunar New Year calendars and culture, they believe that the dragon is the most auspicious of the animals. In fact, some people in certain cultures will actually do family planning based on that they want to have a dragon child. I mean, it's really very, very revered.
Wow.
And this is going to be a wood dragon year, and it's a yang wood dragon year. So you think about, it's not like a little plant growing in a cup. It's like, a tree growing in a redwood forest. Like it's a major, major wood element. Whenever we associate elements with these animals, so a wood element year is about growth, it's about learning, so like there's going to be some tips I'll share, like a wood element year. So like the color green is going to be very in this year, and maybe you'll want to be ahead of the curve. When I just saw one of my clients, I did their pediatric office last week, and I did an early on annual energy, and she had this beautiful, long, bright green parka, and it was so gorgeous. I'm like, I need that coat for the Year of the Wood Dragon. And by the way, I'm always asked around this time of year if there's always a purse or wallet color or,
I was gonna ask that.
bag for the year. So stay tuned. Oh my God, I was thinking it was next week. My class is on Saturday. You know what?
Saturday,
it's not next week. Sometime, I think it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be posting on drum roll the purse and wallet colors and handbags for the year, knapsacks, whatever you want to call it. We'll be posting on the best colors. You can probably get some hints, and we're talking about purple, we're talking about green, but stay tuned for that. Wallet colors. A lot of my clients have been snapping pictures and showing me their new wallets for the year. Why a new wallet? So it's considered to be very prosperous and fortunate if you get a new wallet around the time of the annual energy shift. It's kind of like welcoming the new prosperous energy into your life and home. Like, you know, or you might say, wasn't that like a little frivolous? Well, I invite you to take a look at your wallet. If it's tattered or broken in any way, think about it. You wouldn't want tattered or broken finances. So it's about welcoming fresh, new, prosperous chi into your home. So that's one of the tips as well. But dragon is about, you know, vitality. Dragon can be a little bit unpredictable as well. I mean, think about it. You know, you probably wouldn't want to have a dragon as a pet, right?
Maybe it might be fun. Might be fun. But you're right.
I just saw Susie said she loves Batsy. Yeah, I love flavorings of it. And I know Susie has some dragon friends as well.
Yeah.
I think Colleen who we were talking about earlier, I think Colleen might be a dragon as well.
Actually, my cousin's on. Hi, Amy. Amy said person wallet, she's seeing a lot of red.
Yeah, it's a fire color that you can double check with our Facebook page. And I think Karen might put it in chat for us. I mean, some of you are probably streaming on it right now, but my business is Feng Shui Your World on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yes, we have to put that in, because if somebody wants a consultation, you'll come to their house and help them, and set that up on your website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just, you know, too, for those of you who live out of town, Columbia is pretty far away. But I do travel, but I also have done a lot more virtual consultations, and I do them over Zoom. They're a little bit different in how I handle them because of that. But they're fun and effective as well. But to me, there's nothing like being in person. I really love that. Well, you know, I just do.
It's kind of funny because a couple of years ago we had to switch, and Linda always had this class completely in person. We had to go to Zoom, right? I think for 3 years. Didn't we do it?
Yeah.
For 3. And now this year it's hybrid. So that's exciting that you can attend class on next Saturday, January 20th from 1 to 3. Karen, thank you, Karen. Put up the graphic. But you can attend either in person or on Zoom.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm really excited about being in person. I just taught a period 9 class with Angie and Santosha this past fall too. And that was one of my first in-person classes, believe it or not, in 3 years. It just happens to be that way. So we are super excited. And we're going to be seeing a lot of you in person, and the vast majority online, but we're going to have fun and we're going to be back at the Unity Church in Buffalo, which is a lovely space, and it's also been feng shui. So you're going to be in some nice energetic background there. And it's always like a kind of like a reunion old homes day too, and a great opportunity for new people to meet new friends, feng shui friends of people who have common ground and interests together.
What can people that have never attended, what can they expect to learn, or what information are you going to give? I mean, I know Linda's an excellent, very dynamic and fun teacher, but can you give some hints or some tips, or?
All right. Well, first of all, I do want to say this. So I totally invite any new people to join us on the class. I will do a little precursor and say, just so you know, it is a lot of information. So if you're newer to feng shui, I'll ask Karen, maybe she could put we have a great blog called What is Feng Shui? And you can get a free copy of the Bagua map. You know how I was talking earlier about your career sector, your wealth sector, your romance sector, kind of acquaint yourself with that. And then it'll also go over the elements. So I think if you're acquainted with that, you know, you can buckle your seat belt and follow in the class. So like I said, you know, there's a lot of information, and you can take as much in or as little in as you want. But if you knew nothing else but where's the animal sign for the year, and it's the dragon, and I'll give you a hint, it's in the southeast. So I'll tell you this, wherever the animal sign is for the year, it's very auspicious, but it's about having the support of the animal, and we don't want to kind of piss them off. So ideally, we wouldn't want to dig or renovate there. But if we have to, I can help guide and remedy around that. I will tell you this, I bought a new house this past year, and there were some issues with the mouth of the driveway. It needed some repair. And it was the extension of the southeast, so it was wealth and prosperity. So I certainly wanted to get that fixed right away. Well,
Yeah.
come to find out, and this was actually, it ended up being very abundant. I knew that I needed to get it done like in 2023 because I knew the Grand Duke energy, where you don't want to dig or renovate, in 2024 was coming. And it was one of my uncles who's a retired engineer. I was telling him, what was happening there. And he goes, you may want to call the town. They might be responsible for that. And I had already gotten quotes from a private concrete contractor because I wanted to make sure it was done. And I was really, really surprised. I called the town and they came out and they ended up picking the tab up on the driveway. So I'm like, wow, how about that for abundance in the abundance? That did save me several $1,000s. But more important than the money was that, it's fixed and it's beautiful. And I knew as a feng shui practitioner, I needed to have that done before it would be an area that you really don't disturb. But listen, some years, and this is what you will learn too, right? We can't help but to get something repaired because we have a leak or whatever. Then I help guide and do remedies around that. And listen, I have done it through those things, and it can be very, very effective. So, again, you're going to learn where your best sectors are in your house. And guess what? You want to spend time where the energy is so darn good in that particular sector. Maybe it's going to become the new zone where you have your morning coffee or you meditate, or maybe you want to rearrange your living room furniture. I think one of the things that I really, because I'm feng shuiing right along with all of you, and I'm doing annual energy changes in my home, my place of business, for my loved ones. And it always reminds me that feng shui is about going with the flow and being adaptable to change, because also, right, the only thing we're really guaranteed is that there's going to be change in life. And some of us are more adaptable than others. Some of us are a little more stuck than others. Well, it gets you moving. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, even though I talked about that in the class and I need to do that. And then after about a month, when the energy gels in, I'm like, oh yeah, that feels right on now. So it's an interesting, fun practice, in my opinion.
It is. I do too. It's funny when you were talking about green, and you said that earlier. I have been going crazy. I want green, and I don't usually ever wear green. I'm a red color, and I've been going crazy looking online for green clothes.
Oh, right on. And Angie, I love your plant behind you. So, plants and the strategic placement of plants are going to be very big in the year of the wood dragon. Even if you're not a plant person, and I meet plenty of people that are like, I'm not really a plant person, and I kill them. Well, I have a theory about that one. I feel that if you know where your plants need to be, like where you need wood element in your home, your plants typically do well there. It's people who have the wood element, maybe where the metal element needs to be, and it's a conflict of energy. You think about an axe going up against a tree. What does it want to do? It wants to chop down the tree, right? So it's really interesting. But usually I say to people, even if you're not a plant person, I want you to have at least one live, real plant in your home. Here's an advanced, I'll give you some advanced tips, like how do you prepare your home? So, and I'll probably put this as a tip on my Facebook page, but you'll know you heard it here first. The best thing you all can possibly do between now and February the 3rd is to clean your house. If you like to smudge and, burn incense or ring bells, that's called space clearing. Great to do that too. But the secret sauce is that you should begin by cleaning and power cleaning and all that kind of good stuff in the south sector, because we're in the waning time of the year of the rabbit, which has been the key spot for prosperity. And it is the rising spot for the whole period of 9 in that focus. So you could, and for those of you who follow monthly energy, it's really great this month as well. So it's like you got like the triple good stuff if you start activating in the south. Like that's another thing in my home. Like I changed the front door of my home, the color. I swapped out. Again, it was all because I knew that the energy was shifting. And then we're going to talk about how to cure around the south and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're thinking about taking the class as a newbie, I always call them feng shui experiments. Like when you're new to feng shui, I encourage people to just start trying one thing here and there. Like do one thing, observe it, maybe write it down in a journal. Did you notice a shift or a change? It's kind of fun to do that because it's just fun to do that and then see what changes, and then go on to another little fun experiment to do. But it's great. Like if you're changing up anything in your home, a lot of my clients over the years have said, you make it a lot easier because you narrow it down with elements, which, narrows it down like what could be my color choices here. And, here's the thing. We also learn and we talk about in my consultations about what are your own personal power elements. So like my personal power elements, it's a formula that you work with based on your month, day, and your year of birth, and you're also your gender at birth. Karen, maybe we could put up on my shop page how people could order, their own, GWA number report. I have those on my website, but it will tap you into your personal power element. So I'm an earth and fire person. So, as a feng shui practitioner, I'm also a realtor who helps people buy and sell homes. So if I see like a super, stone fireplace or a granite countertop that's earth element, I'm like, I am just like overjoyed, just some jazzy red front door. I'm loving it. But one thing I love water. I love bodies of water. Like if I'm in a city and all of a sudden, I see the Atlantic Ocean, it's like I'm on Cape Cod. It's like I can breathe. However, I'm not necessarily a blue person. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, let me just paint my walls blue. I love it. It's so calming. But because I practice feng shui, I need water element in certain areas of my home, then I'm more of a person who's accenting with it with blues or blacks and decor or an area rug. And so there's so many different ways that you can put it together. But then I have clients that absolutely adore water. So they're like, oh, where's that room I can paint blue? And they're going for it. Or some of them I have to say, whoa, let's tone it down. You don't need that much water in the environment. One of my favorite examples of kind of giving you a translation of how the elements work. I remember years ago, before I was a realtor, I got a phone call from a woman while I was at an international feng shui conference. It was actually, my first one was in beautiful Morristown, New Jersey, of all places. But this woman had called me on the phone and she left me a voicemail message. And she said, I found your website. And she lived in Lockport, New York, which is in our north towns. And she said, I have my house on the market. It's priced right. It has every update under the sun. It has curb appeal and people smile and they don't make offers. Can you help me sell my house? And I thought to myself, well, gee, I think I know what I would do, but let's book an appointment and I'll figure it out. Well, it happened to be at that conference, there was a woman who had been doing just that in that, like on the West Coast in that San Diego, LA stretch. And as luck and divine forces would happen, whenever I tried to talk to her, there was like a line down the block at the conference. And then we were in a compass reading class together. And it was about 300 people in the room. And then the master was counting us out in pairs, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then he said, would you mind joining those other 2 people in that left corner of the room? You can just be a trio because we have so many people here. And then as we're like sitting down in our seats and I saw her name tag and I said, oh my God, I've been trying to talk to you all weekend. I got a phone call about helping a person sell their house faster with feng shui. This is what I think I would do. What do you do? And I kind of came back to Buffalo and I blended it. Well, what I found out with that particular woman's home was that she didn't have enough fire element there. It was back in the period of 7 when it was very vogue to have everything kind of painted an earthy neutral earth tone color. And I felt like her home, while it was beautiful, it was like a little bit stuck. And I said, you need to activate this. So I analyzed, where does she need the fire element? Like my little glowing light over my shoulder, my salt lamp, a little bit dashing of the color red to kind of subliminally get buyers excited to go through the home, to go boom, boom, boom. Oh, I love it. Oh, I want to make an offer. Because what is making an offer? It's an action. When we add more fire element, just like the period of 9, we have more action. So I think that we're probably going to see people have a lot more energy. Energy is a big word in period 9 when you're talking like energy from being an energetic healer to energy and power companies and alternate sources of fuel and all that kind of great stuff that falls under that umbrella. But I also think we are probably all going to, that's a pretty broad statement, but have a lot more personal energy, a little bit more passion, excitement. Because, when people are like, really kind of feeling depressed, I find 2 things. Because I hear it all, right? So I ask people, what can I help you with? So I have had a lot of clients that have depression issues. So half the time it's about, number 1, they tend to have a lot of clutter. And the first thing I'll say is get it up off the floor, okay? Next thing, energize with the fire element. Open the blinds, open the draperies, let it in, like there's a lot of practical to it too. So But yeah, action, drive, excitement, that is another word that is associated with, the period of 9. And we're going to get into, well, it's not a class on period 9. It's really focused on the year of the dragon, but I can't help but to blend it in. And for those of you who are maybe interested in learning a little bit more about the period of 9, just so you know, again, I taught it this fall. We do offer a replay on that. It's on my website. I know I promised Karen I wouldn't confuse you all and talk about combos, but we did have a special combo offer where you could, attend the Year of the Dragon class and then get the period 9 class too. Speaking of offers, Angie, do you want to tell them what our offer is to everybody tuning in today?
Yes, very exciting. Karen, you can pull this up. We have a coupon code for anybody that's watching today. And it's there. It is Lilydale9. So when you go to register, either on Linda's website, Karen posted all the places to register in the comments. So either on Linda's website, what is your website? Feng Shui?
FengShuiYourWorld.com.
FengShuiYourWorld.com or SantoshaHolisticCenter.com.
Yeah.
And when you go to register, put that code in and they save $10, right? Is it?
They do.
Yes, you save $10. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Linda, for that offer. That's good too. That's awesome. And and I wanted to ask you this too. In the class, like how you're talking about all the different sectors, right? The South, and you go through, like, this is what I love about the class is you go through every sector.
Yeah.
So kind of the northeast part of your home, and what's the energy there and what do you need to enhance it or protect it or whatever. And you do that with the whole, every sector, correct?
Oh, I do. And the class is very, very rich in handouts. And I give you copies of my charts. And, I don't even, I guess we'll have to figure it out. I don't remember what we're offering. I know that, I know for those of you who are attending online, you're going to be watching on Zoom. You'll get a copy of the recording. Angie, refresh my memory. Are the in-person people getting a copy of the recording as well? I don't remember.
Yes. Yeah. I see Karen's shaking her head. Yes. And okay, also, you know what, Colleen Joy, I love Colleen Joy because she always reminds us to say things we forget. But you also, let's just say next Saturday, you can't attend class and you can attend in person or on Zoom. You can still register for class. You'll receive the handouts and the recording. So that's
they're going. The handouts are traditionally emailed the morning of the class. They'll go out at 9 a.m. by our friend Karen, and then you'll have them all in front of you. If again, some people just like to sit and watch it. Some people can't watch it live, so then you can watch it at your own comfort. I even have had people watch it in airports in between connections and in airplanes. Okay, so my diehards are really into it. But yeah, the handouts are super. I love my handouts. I used to do educational programming for an international marketing group, so I appreciate it. I know my clients do as well. If you're attending in person, just so you know, I am printing them and giving the old-fashioned handouts that way. But for those of you online, you'll be getting, downloadable PDFs. I put my red glasses on, by the way, to look at what Anna Marie Sinatra wrote as a question. And Anna Marie, I had to put the glasses on because I had to make sure I was reading it right because it made me chuckle, but I'm going to answer this. She asked, what direction for the foo dog? Okay, well, I think what Anna Marie is actually asking is what direction. She probably means the piao. So let me talk about foo dogs. So foo dogs are typically, if you ever been to a Chinese restaurant, which chances are most of you have somewhere in your life, you'll see those two guard dogs, it looks like, on each side of a door. Those are foo dogs. And we'll talk about foo dogs. So some of our homes may require that with certain energetic patterns. But every year we buzz about where's the Grand Duke for the year. So the Grand Duke is like the Grand Poobah of the year, the ruler, the head emperor, and it's associated with the animal sign. So the Grand Duke is going to be in the southeast because that's the home territory for the dragon. And so what we do, and I don't have one, but maybe Karen will put up a picture from my website. By the way, Karen's the designer of my website as well, and we're going to get a facelift soon. So that's going to be exciting with it being period 9 compliant. We'll be sharing that and doing some little tutorials around that too, because I think you'll find it interesting. But anyhow, every year you place something called a piao. So if you weren't going to really be into symbolic feng shui, if there was only one thing you were going to get and do, I recommend everybody has a piao. So a piao is like a mythological creature. He's half dog, half dragon. and you put it in the southeast this year, facing the southeast. And I give very specific degrees and directions in the class. And then on February the 4th, if for some reason you missed my class or you haven't watched the replay yet, I will put those degrees on my Feng Shui Facebook page. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. But in the southeast, facing the southeast, and the biggest thing you already need to know, do not do any digging or renovating there. So if you have some room, interior that you need to paint or finish up, I encourage you to do it. And trust me, I have a lot of clients that are painting and doing things before the big shift. Or sometimes, we know that, energy is going to be really good in another sector. Some of my clients are holding off and they're not going to be doing certain projects until next spring. Oh, Karen pulled up my website. The two characters, actually, on the first line, we have a Piao keychain, we have a red Piao, a gold Piao, a brass one. I like the big ones. And then we have two of them side by side. So that top line, those are all examples of Piaos. Every year, there's going to be a certain color that you put in the southeast. You also put one in the opposite sector. I also recommend that everyone have one in their car because chances are, right, you're probably going to be driving, to the southeast at some point. Or maybe some of you realize like, oh my God, every morning when I drive to work, it's in a southeasterly direction. So
good idea.
If you were going to get only one object, I would get a Piao. I think everyone can benefit by having a Piao. So great question, Anna Marie. But the biggest thing you just need to know is don't dig or renovate there, just like me in the driveway, right? And I could help that. And I pre-planned for that. And I was able to pre-plan for it because of the knowledge and information that I have.
Linda, here's a question.
Yeah.
Terry. Hi, Terry. I'm redoing my living room. Should my couch be facing the window or the kitchen?
Well, this is what I say without analyzing your space and without knowing your power directions. One of the tips I say is whenever possible, it's ideal to have a solid wall behind you, supporting you. So like I do have that right now. And I have full survey of the room. So it's kind of like, I call that the gangster placement, right? So like no one can sneak up behind you, right? But it is always ideal when we get to enjoy a view. So like if we can, I can look over my shoulder out of a beautiful picture window and I'm seeing, the snow and I love it. Maybe facing a kitchen, some will say it's not ideal if we enter the house into a kitchen. Some say in feng shui circles, it's synonymous with always feeling hungry, like, oh my God, being ravenous. So if you can have a pretty view that you're facing, that's always considered ideal. But the biggest tip is whenever possible, and it's not always possible, have a solid wall behind you for support.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I'm looking to see if there's more. You know what, I want to tell my story real quick too about how well feng shui works, and that when Linda gives you tips, it makes a difference. So I remember my then husband had graduated, he went back to school to be a nurse, and he had graduated from school and he was having trouble finding a job. Somehow nothing was working out. And I talked to Linda, and Linda asked me about a sector. I can't remember at the time what sector in my house. And she said, what do you have like in that room? And I said, oh, that's the junk room. Like that's the room, it's all the stuff I don't know what to do with, I put there. And you said that was like the sector that we needed to have our college diplomas up and, and our placement in the world. And I needed to clean that room and, and change it around. And I remember telling my husband that, and he said, how's that going to make any difference? And I said, let's do it. Let's trust her. And so we did. We organized that room. He hung up his degree. I had to hang up my degree too. And it took a couple of days. He had a job. So it works.
Yeah. That was really exciting. Someone asked a question, is it a good year to move? Well, think about it. Moving is action, right? So that's about taking action, and taking action is another key hallmark word for the year of the dragon, about growth, but also movement, that period 9. So it's interesting that you have an impulse. Impulse could be a word associated with period 9 to possibly move. If you need some guidance with that, I could help you with that. So let me know.
Sure.
On a few different levels.
Here's one.
I also look at things astrologically too. Like, is it a good time to move? I use astrology predominantly as a tool for my real estate clients. So like, is it a good time to put the house on the market this year or next year? I mean, we've had a very hot market in the past 2 years. So that, like, some people would say, really, do you really need astrology to do that? But there's so much going on when you move, right? So I look at timing. And I also help people with date selection, from a business standpoint, personal standpoint. I picked wedding dates for people, but I do that with the Chinese almanac combined with Western astrology, just because those are my two favorite tools to use. But there's many ways to the mountain, but there's different layers to it for sure.
Linda, here's one. I'm removing a rug and putting wood in the southeast bedroom, and it's already scheduled. Is that a problem? Hi, Teresa. That's Teresa.
Can you make them step on it and get it done in the next couple of weeks? I would say then that would be a really good thing. But I will tell you, the wood is going to be great there, because if you look at the background of the Bagua map, and again, Karen put a link to getting a free Bagua map on my website. On a basic feng shui level, the wood element, like our wood dragon, is the home element for that sector. So that's going to be great and very harmonious. If you can possibly do it, I would try to get it done before February the 3rd. If you can't, I'll already give you a tip. And this goes for any one of you. You would hang a 6 hollow rod metal wind chime in that area while the work is being done. And I usually recommend people would put the wind chime in place about a week before and then keep it up after. I'll give you a perfect example. And it wasn't ideal at all. I had to have an electrical upgrade done on my home, and I really didn't have an option. And I went for it, and it was in the Northwest, and it was done this year. And for those of you who took my Year of the Rabbit class, it had the 5-star there this year. Would be like oh my gosh, like it could have been a big health thing. And for various reasons, I just decided that we should already do it. And that's a major upgrade. It's a great capital improvement in the home. But what I didn't know until I was like talking to the electrician, so they have to do all your stuff in your basement, on the exterior of your home. So I knew I already had it planned. I was moving like a little garden piece to be able to hang a 6 hollow rod metal wind chime right outside that Northwest area. But what I didn't know was they actually dig into the ground and they put some sort of they bury a grounding rod in there. But you know what? I did my wind chime, also hung a wind chime down around our electrical boxes down in the basement, and we were fine. But I'll tell you what, I did not pull that. Well, you would use a wind chime in that area, but that additional wind chime that I hung for the year, I still have it outside, even in the snow, because I just thought I just don't want to remove that until the energy changes. And again, knock on wood, we were fine. But there's lots of different ways you can cure around that, but I would want to suggest you would cure around that. But if you need to contact me, for all my clients, anyone who's taken a class with me, I offer feng shui coaching with increments as small as 15 minutes. So make it really accessible. So whether you want to invest and have a consultation, or come learning in a classroom, or book 15 minutes of time with me. And we have a lot of great resources too, and blogs and videos. You're going to be seeing more videos coming up on our website that's being redone as well. So, and then visit our, if you're not already part of our Facebook page. I don't have a group, by the way, but I do post tips and things like that. Or if you join our newsletter, you'll be able to stay up to snuff with that. But I love sharing the information with people, and we try to make it very accessible with people.
Yeah. One last question. Can I plant a garden in the southeast this spring?
It's not ideal. And you'll feel for the people who've been wanting to plant a garden in the east for the past many years, and I quote unquote haven't let them. What I usually do in those certain years, and by the way, I'm a person who's been waiting to do some renovation and gardening work in my east part of my home. So what I do in those years where it's not great, and it wouldn't be great to dig a garden, I will put potted plants, or I'll do like container gardening, if I want to plant tomatoes or whatever. So it's not ideal in the southeast this year. I know I just gave you that example, the electrical thing that was kind of became a must and a really important upgrade. But like a garden, while it's aesthetic and it's nice, it's not a complete necessity, although some people probably disagree with me on that one. But I think you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Karen, can you put up one more time the class? Because it's this Saturday, so we're not even a week away, right, Linda? We're like 6 days away. All of a
Yes.
sudden, it came fast. So, next Saturday, January 20th, is Year of the Dragon Feng Shui Energy Changes class. I can't recommend it enough. The things that Linda, talked now and gave us lots of hints. Wait till you see everything you'll learn at that class. It's awesome because you can attend on Zoom or in person, or if you can't attend, you can get the recording. And also too, there's a lot of handouts. And if you can't make it and you just get the recording, you'll also get the handouts. So Year of the Dragon 2024 Feng Shui, Saturday, January 20th from 1 to 3. You can register. Karen just posted in comments Linda's website or Santosha's website. Also, if you're on today, Lilydale 9, I think it is will save you $10. So thank you to Linda for extending that. But yep, so take a look, and I'd love to see a class. It's an excellent class. I've been going to the class, kind of co-hosting it with Linda for the last 4 years, but I've been attending that class for years and years and years.
Yeah, and you'll be seeing all of us in person for sure.
Yeah, it'll be great. So, Linda, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. This time flew by as usual.
It always does. It always does. It always goes by quick. Any last hints or any last thoughts?
Happy cleaning in the South.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. And I'll see you next week. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Angie.